Hell of a thing. Cops brutally beat a black male over a parking violation. Here it is.
They wanted to do something to this man. This other cop came rushing over here. They told him to turn up. Oh my goodness.
Put up the picture full mass. Let me give you the background to what you just saw. I'm taking you to Indiana. Lawrence police claim they repeatedly punched, kicked, and tasered 38-year-old William Jerome Armstrong in a Walmart parking lot on Tuesday because he attacked them first, according to the police. But police in the Indianapolis suburb of Lawrence still have not released body camera footage supporting that proclamation. As of now, the only videos that have surfaced were recorded by witnesses showing police officers repeatedly punching Mr. Armstrong as his sister screams in shock. And one of the witnesses who recorded the beating accused the Lawrence Police Department of lying about what had taken place. It all started Tuesday afternoon after Ms. Armstrong pulled up to a Walmart to pick up his 16-year-old sister, parking in the fire lane in front of the store, which is a non-moving violation punishable by a small fine. According to court records obtained by WRIC-TV, a Lawrence police officer spotted Mr. Armstrong parked in the fire lane in a white Ford Explorer, so he pulled up behind him in the same fire lane to issue him a citation. But police claim that Armstrong immediately and aggressively approached the cop's car with his hands balled into a fist, demanding to know if the officer, quote, had a problem. The cop said he warned Armstrong not to run up on police, but that just further infuriated Armstrong, where he became, according to them, hostile and argumentative and told the cop to F off. The cop said he contacted dispatch to send backup because he began fearing for his safety. Now, I want to highlight a few things. Number one, being aggressive, not illegal actually. Telling the police to F off, not illegal. We just covered a story on Indisputable not too long ago. Guy flips off the police. Police decide to arrest him. Instant defunding of the police occurring. Lawsuit. It's a violation of your freedom of expression here. So the police are saying the reason why they were punching and beating this man is because he attacked them first. Even if you take that narrative, that becomes retaliation, does it not? Because the professional and the constitutional obligation is to effect an arrest, not to effect a beatdown because somebody was aggressive and attacked you. Now, that's if you believe the police currently. Right now, nobody does. There's more. But when the other officers arrived and ordered Mr. Armstrong to place his hands behind his back to handcuff him in order to, according to them, maintain officer safety, they claimed he snatched his hands away from them and began fighting and resisting. The report goes on to say that Armstrong punched two cops in the face and used a hip toss to throw an officer on the ground. But none of that was captured in the videos that have been posted online. Now you got to go back to cause and effect. If they are attempting to arrest an individual unlawfully, if they are attempting to incarcerate somebody for doing absolutely nothing that is worthy of incarceration, a non-moving violation is not an offense that you go to jail for. It's a citation. It's typically an ordinance violation. There is no jail time affixed to that. It's a fine. So all of this started from a non-moving violation at Walmart. The escalation of this seems to be the police not liking the fact that an individual is upset about their interaction. Well, that's why police are supposed to be professional. It's simply a citation. This has now become, well, a headline story. But his family, police also say they found an AR-15 rifle in the backseat of his car, which is permissible in Indiana as long as the person does not have a felony conviction. Armstrong was charged with 2 counts of battery against a public safety official, 2 counts of resisting law enforcement, and 1 count of intimidation, according to WISH-TV. Now, there is no indication that the firearm had anything to do with the altercation. So why are we even talking about the firearm anyway? Well, because it's a black male. It's an individual that perhaps should not have a firearm, even if it's legal. All of a sudden it becomes part of the narrative. Oh, well, there you go. He had a weapon. There's more. Other commenters on various platforms, various threads showing the video, say it is not uncommon for people to park in the fire lane to load up on merchandise at that particular Walmart, especially during cold weather. It was about 15 degrees that day. She said her brother was trying to explain to the cop that his sister had already walked out to just let them be on their way. But the cop became angry when Mr. Armstrong cursed at him, responding by punching him in the face, which is what led to the violent confrontation. Now, given the track record of police reports and their extreme need to embellish, let's say, the truth, if I can use that terminology, to downright lie, given the reality that police officers as a collective unit have decided to be on the same page with those lies. We've exposed them right here. Who do you really believe? Who do you believe? Do you believe a man went to a Walmart to pick up his 16-year-old sister because he wanted to fight the police? Or do you believe that a man went to pick his 16-year-old sister up and all of a sudden a police officer took something small and made it into something big? The way the police lie to cover their ass is crazy, end quote, wrote Brittany Glass on Facebook while sharing a local media article Thursday about the incident. 2 days earlier, while posting the videos to the incident to her Facebook page only hours after the incident, she wrote that, quote, this man was wrongfully beat up by the police at the Far East Side Walmart in Indianapolis. He wasn't being aggressive with them. They took it upon themselves to add extra force to bring him down. Somebody tagged the Indy News or something. Let's put up the chief. Okay, that's Lawrence Police Chief. Curtis Bigsby said in the statement, quote, transparency and accountability are fundamental to maintaining the trust of the community we serve. We are committed to a fair, objective review of this incident and appropriate action will be taken based on the findings. Lawrence Police released a statement to the media telling the public to have patience, quote, while all relevant evidence, including body-worn camera footage, witness statements, and other officer reports thoroughly examined. I will say this. Many times we have done a segment like this and the police chief has already proclaimed to be the defense attorney for the officers in question. At least at this moment, the chief is sounding quasi-reasonable that this information will be analyzed. It does not take weeks to analyze a few minutes of body cam footage. And so I'm looking for an update quickly. I believe we understand what happened. Cops got out of control over something very small because they can be very petty. All right, Francesca, once again, man beat down, cops give a reason. Say, oh, that's because he hit us first. That's actually not the way it goes. But even if you believe that, you realize there's a constitutional violation here. But I don't believe it for one bit. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, this is the importance of filming the police, right? And Brittany Glass took it upon herself to film the cops because who knows what's going to happen with that body cam footage. And it reminds us of Darnella Frazier, right? Who filmed the murder of George Floyd and how important that footage was to the ultimate conviction of Derek Chauvin, who, by the way, MAGA's trying to resuscitate that guy because, of course, you know, they know no depths and they are racist vigilantes and they love that kind of stuff. And so number one, definitely always film the cops. Number two, I'm very struck by something that Brittany just says while she's there filming, right? She says, they just ran up on him. They seemed to, they wanted to, something like to that effect, which means she was standing there. She was seeing the whole thing and they used an excuse to start being aggressive against him. In this case, parking in a fire lane for 2 seconds. And so that I think is also really important. Like her gut reaction as she's watching all of this play out is they were just trying to find an excuse to harass this man. Now, as to that excuse, whether or not you think that yes, parking in a fire zone is awful and we shouldn't do that, even if it's just to pick somebody up for 2 seconds in 15-degree weather, I would ask you whether or not you think that police armed and paid for by the taxpayer should be the ones enforcing parking law in a parking lot. Aren't there other dangers, ostensibly, other people who might need actual help than trying to do Walmart's parking enforcement for them and then resulting in someone being brutally beaten over it? So that's the other thing. We constantly talk about this, Doc, how many of these incidents start with a mere violation, and yet because cops are there to simply be bouncers of life and be obeyed no matter what they say, they use it as an opportunity to beat someone's ass. And they relish in that often. Yeah. And they rarely get held accountable.
Yeah, and you're right. Also, the city government, they don't believe that briefly parking in a fire lane is that big of a crime, given the fact it's a non-arrestable offense and only an ordinance violation.